Welcome back, Setting the Edge. It is the second round of the playoff, the divisional round. We are back. Even though it is a Saturday, we normally go on Thursday nights. We had some conflicts, so we are still getting it in. You can see Tony is still getting himself ready,
Working it
but
through.
he we'll be ready to go. So we are doing our normal competition this week on Better Edge. It's my favorite place to gamble, to have competitions. They've added player props, so now it is even more useful, in my opinion. It is peer-to-peer betting, so it's different than your normal, sports books. You're betting against someone else. There is no fees, no vig, so you're definitely getting better value. You can also make your own line, so it's opportunity for you. If you don't like what you see in other sports books, you can propose another, your own line. If you don't like the Eagles minus 7.5 and you want the Eagles minus 7, and you don't want to pay the fee that you would pay on the bigger sports books, you can do that on Better Edge. We are here this week. We do a competition every week. This is the divisional round. As always, we will be making 10 picks. This week, the pacer is Andy. Andy has told me pre-show that there is no doubt in his mind that he's going to win this week. If you have watched any of these shows, or if you know anything about Andy, he is the irrational confidence guy. He's the guy that comes off the bench like Jamal Crawford, and he is just letting him fly. Every shot is going in. So don't be intimidated by that. There are already 12 people that have joined, so that is a lot of money in the pot already. All you have to do is beat Andy, which is pretty simple. Just get, I would say, 5 or 6 right, and you're going to be good to get the money this week.
Too crazy. I'm going 9-1. I'm telling you right now, 9-1.
Oh, okay. So listen, this week it is different because we only have 4 games this week, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. As we usually do 10 picks, there's only 8 options when you do sides and totals. So we are incorporating this week something new because Better Edge has now incorporated player props. So when you look at the competition, you will see the normal sides and totals, and then you will see roughly 10 player props for each of those 4 games. So there are a lot of choices in the competition this week. It is just simply picking 10 of those and, your record out of those 10. So I have with me, as always, Tony Schwartz, NBA. He's down at the bottom of the screen. I have Goated Marino, Andy Romero. He is at the top of the screen to my right. And we are going to just jump into it. So this week, I think the easiest way for us to navigate the slate is just go in time order. So we'll start with the early game today and then move all the way through Sunday Night Football. And then everybody can kind of just give their picks as we go through. So this afternoon, first game is at 4:30. It is the Jaguars at the Chiefs. Jags making a miraculous comeback. To no one's surprise, the Chargers basically chargered last Saturday and blew a 27-0 lead. I know somewhere probably Nathaniel Hackett was smiling. He just proud of the incompetence that was displayed there. Matt Rule was probably clapping. But the Jags survived. They come to Kansas City, the number 1 seed in the AFC. Kansas City is an 8.5-point favorite, over under 53 in that game. What do you guys have? Player props, sides, totals. Let's start with Andy since he's the pacer.
I appreciate that, sir. Well, we got tonight, or this afternoon, better said, I got easy money. Jacksonville plus 8.5, and I also got the over 53 points. We already know this is going to be an explosive game from 2 explosive offenses. I'm not 100% sure the Jaguars can keep up with the Chiefs, but they're just going to score points in bunches. The Chiefs don't have a really intimidating defense, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. Trevor Lawrence is finally getting into his own. I could take him out of the grouping that I had him in with next to Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. I think he's upgraded. Now he's at the Daniel Jones level. Let's see where he can go next. And we already know Mahomes is going to do this thing. So I think it's going to be a great matchup of 2 young and exciting quarterbacks. And let's see. Let's see if Jaguars can pull out that upset.
I don't have anything on the sides or totals. Tony, do you have anything side or total on this game?
I'm taking the under. I think that both of these teams' track histories kind of point me to that direction. I know recently the Jags, obviously their wild card game went over, and Kansas City the last couple games has hit their over. But if this works out the way I think it does, and it ends up in the second half with Kansas City in a sizable lead, I think Jacksonville could cover that spread, even though I'm not taking that. And this game goes under. I hope it's explosive. I hope Andy's right. But these 2 teams just don't have a history of that. So I'm just rolling with history here. Take the under.
I've looked at the Jags. 8.5, I think, is a good number. A lot of people, I think it's America's teaser of the week is the Chiefs and the Eagles. Everybody's teasing that down to 2.5 and 1.5. So the books are definitely going to be looking for one of those two teams to fall flat on their face and hopefully erase those teasers. I think the way that the Jags are playing this, they're not going to stop fighting. You saw that last week. They're going to continue to go after it, which makes me think Jags plus 8.5 or the over. But I agree with Tony more so that the under, to me, I think the Chiefs are going to come out. I think they're going to be dominant. I think they know what's on the line. They're going to be focused. I don't have either side, but I just feel like the Chiefs at home. It's going to be a tough experience for the Jaguars today. Do either of you guys have anything in the prop section of this game?
A lot.
Yeah. I can see Tony's face. I also have 1, 2, 3, 4 different props. So let me have Tony go first on this one.
Yeah, so I love the props for this matchup. I think that this is the first game in a long time that I'm going to try and play a bunch of player props. I'm going to start with Trevor Lawrence over 249, 249.5. So that'll make it 250. But I think Jacksonville has to throw the rock pretty much the entire game today. I assume they're going to be down early. And even if they're not down early, Kansas City is going to rally back and they're going to have to throw the ball at some point anyway. Jacksonville has to get out there. And unless Trevor's out there throwing interceptions, I think that 249 passing yards gets covered pretty easily. The next one is my bet the house special. Can we bet the house specialist kind of stuff?
Hell yeah, boy.
Hell yeah.
All
you're not
day,
gonna get a no from
day.
You're not getting a no from Andy on that one.
Yeah, we're boop, 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 boop. 19.5 rushing yards for McKinnon. Yeah, give me the over on that. Over 19.5 rushing yards. His player prop in a lot of other books is like 36 rushing yards. I think at 36 on Prize Picks. This is like fucking half that number. It's easily coverable. If I'm right again, and I'm rarely am, but if Kansas City is up at half and they go into their traditional kind of like keep the game ahead of them and make sure that they come out with victory, they're going to be running the ball anyway. So 19.5 seems super coverable. I have one more. Do you want me to give it to you, or are we going to swap?
Go ahead. Yeah, man, go ahead.
Yeah, Juju under 52.5. I think Juju gets a good healthy number of targets today. But it's a Travis Kelce game today. The other receivers are going to be at a premium when they're attacking that interior of the Jacksonville's defense, which is where they are the slowest. So under 52.5 for Juju Smith-Schuster. And I think that's all my props, even though I thought I had like 17 more.
All right, I have 4, and then I'll swing it over to Andy to see if he has any. We agree on the Trevor Lawrence over 249.5. He had 288 last week. Kansas City's defense and their secondary is not great. If you think about the game script, if you think even if the Jaguars are losing by a lot, they're going to have to throw. If you think the Jaguars are going to win this game, they're certainly not doing it by pounding the rock with Travis Etienne. So I think unless he's just turning the ball over, Trevor Lawrence is going to have an opportunity to get over 250. Even though if you look at his stats this season, he's super up and down. He has big games. He has games where he's in the like 150s. So I do like that one a lot. We are opposite on the Juju. I have over 52.5 on Juju just because I'm thinking I did a little bit of research into these props. The Jags play a lot of zone. Juju has the 12th most receiving yards against zone. So it's an opportunity for him to exploit what the Jaguars do. I do agree on the Travis Kelce part, though. Travis Kelce over 80.5 yards in the air. He had 92 plus in 8 games this season, 95 plus in all 6 playoff games in the last 2 years. 95 plus yards in all 6 playoff games the last 2 years, including 8 receptions and a touchdown. So Travis Kelce balls out in the playoffs. And the Jags are the worst team DVOA versus tight ends. Travis Kelce's going to have a good game today because he's a baller. The last one I have is Travis Etienne. I do think he's going to have a role, but I don't think it's going to be very much on the ground. I think it's going to be passing the ball. Quick, Lawrence getting the ball out, and his receiving yards is only 18.5. Travis Etienne can get that on one catch. He's an explosive back, and he was involved in a lot of passing snaps last week when they were making that comeback. I think the Jags will be trailing, and they're going to have to throw the ball, so it kind of connects with my Trevor Lawrence prop. Andy, you got any props on this game?
This one I only got 1, and I think we won 3 for 3. Trevor Lawrence over on passing yards is automatic, bro. Automatic. You guys are giving all
So
the
we're
reasons
all on
why.
that one.
I think it's gonna be a shootout, so I love that pick. And actually, on Prize Picks, I'm playing Mahomes plus Trevor Lawrence over on yards. I think this game is just gonna be a wonderful experience for offense lovers.
Before we move on to the next game, picking this game straight up. Obviously, it's not part of our competition because we use the spread. Is everyone Chiefs? Does anybody think the Jaguars? I mean, how are we feeling about this game?
I don't doubt it. Man.
I do.
I wouldn't pick them to win straight up, but I don't doubt it. These playoffs have been ridiculous. Skylar Thompson almost beats the Bills. That in itself in its own is enough for me to the playoffs are here. No one knows what's going to happen. I expect the Chiefs to win, but I wouldn't leave it past Doug Peterson. He's done miraculous things in the past.
Trevor Lawrence has never lost on a Saturday in his life, apparently, according to Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that might be accurate. I gotta check the record.
Go play Patrick Mahomes. Enjoy that.
Tony, Chiefs?
Chiefs.
Yeah, I agree. All right, next game tonight at the Link. Giants coming to town. It's the third time these teams have played, obviously being a divisional matchup. The Eagles won the first two. Eagles are 7.5-point favorites on our competition, and the over-under is 48 points. Tonight, 8:15. We'll let Tony go first, being he is an Eagles fan, to let us know anything sides or totals. Let's just start sides or totals first.
Traditionally in high value rivalry games, I don't make a sides pick. All right. And I'm not going to today. I tricked you. I thought I was going to do it. I'm not. I'm going under 48. I think that this evens out. All right. The first two games, Philadelphia Giants, it's a tale of two different teams completely, right? Giants were so banged up, arresting their starters going into that last matchup they had, and Philly was kind of clicking on all cylinders that first one. I think this kind of finds balance in between the two. The Giants are proving that they're a really savvy football team. They fight, and they're not going to go away in any matchup. So I think this gets pulled into the mud a little bit. Jalen Hurts is getting his feet back. It's not looked as great as it could look. I expect everybody to settle in a little bit more. I even expect the Giants to settle in a little bit more as they're starting to believe in their own hype. But I think that's their Achilles heel now. You're seeing a lot of the Giants players and coaches really start to push and create that expectation for contending. And certain things have to win out, and just roster talent in depth end up winning out. That 7.5 is like the best bet in sports this week, I think. It's like the best bet in sports, but I can't curse myself. I can't take it. I won't take it. I refuse as my tradition. So we're not going to do that today.
First half of those two games, random stat here. First half of those two games they played before, 40-7 Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. Andy, anything sides or totals?
I got both. I'd be messing around with Manny, our producer, and with Tony, because the Eagle fans, but I agree. Minus 7.5 is a hell of a play. It's just talent level. I know it's rivalry week, whatever. It's the third time you face each other. You never know what's going to happen, but the talent on New York Giants versus the talent on Philadelphia Eagles, Philly is 2-3 levels above talent-wise in every position, maybe besides running back. So at home in Philly, you these crazy ass fans screaming drunk after drinking since 8 a.m. this morning. Nah, man, I can't play against Philly this week. I'm going with under though. I don't think it's going to be an explosive match, but I do believe Philly's going to take care of business, 100%.
And you said you have the under also?
Under 48 points, yes, sir.
And did you wear green today in support of the Eagles?
I love that.
Honestly, no. It worked out though. I put on green shoes, so I wanted to put on a green shirt. So that's the reason why it happened. But yeah, fly Eagles fly. I'm okay with that.
All right, 1 second, please.
Man,
a literal
you
1 second, an unplugged 1 second.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Timeout.
Everybody
I got the Eagles minus 7.5. I got the Eagles minus 7.5. Just for Manny, just for Tony.
Let's go.
I don't break this hat out very often. It's very nice and crisp. But
It looks
on
like
a
you
day
just
like
bought it
today
yesterday,
in
bro.
Philadelphia, you know what? I think the Eagles are going to pound them. I think the Eagles are going after them. It's a divisional matchup. I think the Eagles under, like Andy said, is great because I think the Eagles are going to dominate them in the trenches. If Lane Johnson is good, he's got that hammy that's hurt. If he's good, they're going to just kill him up front. They'll run the ball with Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell. Great opportunity with those guys. I don't think they run too much with Hurts, especially if with his shoulder, if there's a concern there, but they're going to just ground and pound basically. So watch out for them. What we got going on here? We got lots of props going on. Eagles hats. I love it.
Oh boy.
Anybody got props on this game? I don't have any props on this game. I do like Saquon over 22.5 receiving yards, but we don't have it on Better Edge. Any props?
I didn't like the numbers.
I got Barkley under 69.5 rushing yards. I got him going under because I think they're going to be behind, and I think they're going to be throwing, and a couple picks are going to be thrown, and aside New York City in a couple hours.
And Tony, you don't have any?
I don't have any.
All right. I think I would have to say from our talk, since we both picked the Eagles and Tony just avoided it as a fan, I think we all agree the Eagles win this one. So we're going chalk on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in the world, like I said. Oh, go ahead.
I would be way less surprised if the Giants win compared to if the Jaguars win. If that
I would agree
says
with that.
anything.
And I don't think it's very surprising that we're both on those two teams. Like I said at the beginning, the America's teaser is the Chiefs and the Eagles knocking it down to 2.5 and 1.5. I think it seems like everybody is on that play. So that's something if you want to follow the public, which is not always the greatest idea. It just seems like it makes too much sense. So we're moving into Sunday. Bengals, Bills. The game that was canceled a few weeks ago, obviously the tragic injury. There's going to be a lot of emotion. I'd imagine Damar Hamlin is there either in a box or on the field or in some capacity. Obviously, he's recovering, which is great. But the game that didn't happen. Early on, if I remember correctly, that game was 7-3.
7-3
when it ended.
Yeah.
The Bengals went down and scored. The Bills got stopped, kicked a field goal, and then shortly after that, I think, was the injury. So what do we think sides and totals on this game? I had something, and then I pulled it out and picked something else, so I don't have any sides or totals.
Man, you second-guess yourself, bad things happen.
I know.
I think this is the house special of the week, fellas. Cincinnati Bengals +5. Mainly because the Bills, they haven't, ever since like week 6 or 7, they haven't impressed me. They haven't been dominating. They haven't looked amazing, in my opinion. Maybe because since I'm a Dolphins fan, I mainly see them versus the Dolphins, and all 3 games were very competitive when I believe they have the better roster today. But I just think the Bengals, offensively, they can keep up with them. Defensively, they can do things to make Josh Allen confused, make him uncomfortable. I think the Bills are going to lose at home. I think Cincinnati +5 is free money. And I got the over 48 points. Won both ways.
All right. Tony, anything on the side or total?
I kind of agree with him.
So I will tell you the pick that I had was Bengals +5, and I removed it.
Yeah. I'm on. Go ahead.
Well, I removed it. I think the injuries up front is what concerns me. I think they're missing 3 offensive linemen. I would not be surprised if the Bengals win. I just think that those injuries, I think that the Bengals are playing very well. And I agree with you. I think the Bills have sort of just kind of coasted through and haven't been playing the best football. I don't think that they're the best team in the AFC, but I think it's a coin flip game, and that's why I didn't pick it, because I didn't feel strongly one way or the other.
See, it's the flip side of the line for me, where I don't feel like without Von Miller, I don't feel like Buffalo's finding the same pass rush that they were before. You tie that in with the emotion of the game and everything else. I think you're right. I think it's +5 and over 48. I'm with you.
Anybody have props on this game?
Joe Burrow over 275. Joey B.
Andy?
I like that one. No, I don't have any. I don't have any more props on the rest of the way.
All right. I got 3 on this one. I was on Burrow over 1.5 passing touchdowns, and I erased that one when I got rid of the Bengals. I was trying to kind of like correlate my picks to make sense. So here's what I got. I got Josh Allen over 1.5 passing touchdowns. He had 2 or more in 12 out of 18 games this season, and he's done that 5 out of 6 playoff games the last 3 years. I think if you think that the Bills are going to have any competitive chance, Josh Allen has to have a big game. Yeah. I also think Josh Allen over 44.5 rushing yards. This is something that I've seen a lot of people posting that they're playing. Josh Allen against playoff teams. I'm sorry, Josh Allen against non-playoff teams, 5.7 rushes a game, 37 yards. Josh Allen against playoff teams, 9.4 rushes, almost double, 60 yards. So it almost, again, doubles. 44-plus yards, which is what the line is, in 13 games, 72% of the games over the last 2 years. Since he's bottom 5 against design QB runs, in the playoffs, he's done this 5 out of 7 games, 55 or more. 70-plus yards in 5 games this year, 66-plus yards in 4 out of 7 playoff games, and he's done 75 yards twice. He runs against teams like this. When he needs to run, he does. And we know he's not afraid to get his body in there and take risks. Yep. And so I'm correlating that with my Bet the House special, which is Devin Singletary under 44.5 rushing yards. First of all, he's not even the damn starting running back essentially anymore. James Cook is out carrying him the last 2 weeks. I don't think that he's going to be involved enough to get to 44.5 yards unless he breaks off a big one, and he's just not that type of back. So I'm going Devin under 44.5 rushing yards. So I had 3 props for the Bills and the Bengals.
Love it, dude. I love it.
I haven't had time to dig into like having all this random stats and crap that I used to do at the beginning. So I was glad.
Daniel Jones also, I was like this close. Your Bengals, I was this close to Daniel Jones rushing yards because he usually covers it the same way in games like this.
Yep. And you got to think the Eagles are going to try to get after him, and if he can't get
he's got to scramble.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So their secondary is intense, and I don't think the receivers are ready for that, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Bengals Bills. Let's make some picks here. So I think you took the Bengals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Andy. So you're taking you think the Bengals are going to win the game? Obviously, if you're picking them +5, you think that they're winning the game, or are you taking the points because you think they're just going to keep it close?
I'm taking the points. I think it's going to be real close, and I think Bengals have a great chance to win. I think they were on their way due to momentum to win the original matchup that they had. So I think +5 is just for free. If it was -1, I would stay away from it, but it's +5. I love that.
Okay. Tony?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm taking the points because I don't know. I think that we're in a situation here at the end of the game that it's going to be a touchdown score. So +5 seems like the right move no matter what. Just because it'll get covered if it's a 3 or 4 point swing. But I really see the Bengals winning this matchup. But, the Bills haven't played like themselves, though. It only takes like 5 seconds for them to wake up, and then it's dominant. So it could go.
Yep. I'm going to pick the Bengals. I'm going tomorrow to one of my buddies is a Bills fan, big Bills bar. So it would be hard for me to root for the Bengals, but I think that they get it done. I think they get it done. I don't know. There's something about this Bengals team that are rounding into form. So I'm picking the Bengals in this one. Last but not least, historical rivalry going back to the 80s and 90s, even further back, the Cowboys and the 49ers. Great rivalry game. I believe it is a 6 or 6:30 game tomorrow on Sunday. 49ers are 3.5-point favorites on their competition, and the over-under is 46.5. Let's start with Tony this time. Anything on the sides or totals for this one?
This makes me want to vomit.
Oh, yeah, baby.
This isn't individual analysts or individual people. Just macro analysis last week was, Tom Brady has a fighting shot in any matchup that he's in, And then the conversation shifts after the loss to, of course, Dallas won. They're a great team, right? And they are a great team, and I think that they're constructed really well on both sides of the ball. I'm taking Dallas plus 3.5. That half point moved me, man. If it was 3, I wouldn't do it, but that 3.5 is so good. I could see them actually winning this matchup. Some of the 49ers magic has been generated with like incredible secondary play that I don't know if they can sustain against some of that inside leverage that Dallas receivers use. I hate picking it, but yeah, I'm taking Dallas in the points.
It's the right play, first of all. And second of all, I don't know what the nation was thinking. Everybody was thinking. I told y'all. Bet the house special last week, Dallas. That was easy. Easy money. I didn't even watch the game. I already knew what the result was going to be. I agree with you, Tony. Dallas plus 3.5. They're the better team. I have no idea why they're not the favorites in the matchup, besides that they're not at home. Brock Purdy, I'm a Brock Purdy stan. He's a Dan Marino stan, so we are brothers in that. But this is a different level of defense, man. The Seahawks defense, this is not the same. Not the same, brother.
So this is where my props and my plays don't connect, but I still feel confident in this. I've been saying for quite a while, I think the 49ers are the best team in the league. I think they have the best defense. I think they have the best skill position. I think they block the best. The question mark is the most important position on the field, quarterback. Because if Brock Purdy finally plays to his, I guess, perceived ability, they're going to be in a whole lot of trouble. And to Andy's point, this is not the Seahawks. This is not the Raiders. This is the Dallas Cowboys. They are going to come after you in waves. And if they can get to the quarterback, Brock Purdy is in trouble. So my first play is Brock Purdy under 239 passing yards, 39.5, I should say. He had 332 last week against the Seahawks. The Seahawks defense is terrible. He had 284 against the Las Vegas Raiders. Their defense is terrible. Every other game that he started, the other 5 out of 7, have been under 240, which is the line. If he steps up and plays well, I don't think there's any doubt the 49ers win. But I think they can also win with him being that ball control management quarterback because their skill positions or running backs are so good and their defense is so good, especially if Dallas turns the ball over. I just don't necessarily – I think Dallas is who I thought they were. They're a good team. They're not a great team. Beating the Bucs, even though I picked the Bucs last week to make the upset, beating the Bucs doesn't change my opinion of them because, like Andy said, they're just not good. And we just kept buying into Tom Brady magic. So I think the Cowboys have gotten some sort of weird like boost from beating a team that we all knew is not very good. And now we believe that they're going to be able to go into San Francisco and win. I agree with Tony. 3.5, that number, that hook is what would sell me on it. I changed my mind. I went from Cowboys plus 3.5, but I'm taking 49ers minus 3.5. I think that the defense and skill position gets it done, but I would love it at 3 or 2.5. I'm going to throw out there on, when you can do the marketplace bets, 3 or 2.5. I want people to take that. I want people to take 2.5.
Sean, let the Cowboys score a field goal first. That 49ers money line that I'm throwing out there is going to be ridiculous.
Man,
what is the chances that Brett Meyer can make a field goal after last week? How does he still have a job?
Yeah, it's tough.
That was outrageous. Is that what are they going to do? Sign Caleb Sturgis, a free agency? Like you're stuck. You're stuck with him. He was pretty good this year, from what I understand.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I gave a prop for Brock Purdy.
Okay, cool. I have one too. Go ahead.
I mean, I gave mine for Brock Purdy. Did anybody else have any props?
I got one. I think that even though I do think that this is a Dallas Cowboy air raid game, look, when we get to divisional rounds like this, the big guys just show up, right? Your main engines just show up. Debo over 54.5. That feels really lockish to me. The 49ers, if they have any chance to win this game and score more points than Dallas, they're going to have to involve all of their offensive weapons. And I think that 54.5 receiving yards is right. The way they use him with swing passes, the way that they use him in yak and trying and creating opportunities for him running with the ball. That's my only prop, though, for that.
Andy, you don't have any props, right?
Not on this one, sir.
And, okay, so I said I'm taking the 49ers in terms of straight up picks. Who's winning this game, Tony and Andy?
Cowboys.
God. Dude, we sat here, and I think we're going to do this segment next just from the swing of things. We sat here, I said, I think it's going to be the Eagles and Cowboys in the conference finals. I'm still there.
So that's really what's all left. We've always finished every show talking about the Super Bowl. We're down to basically 8 teams. We've made our picks. We know kind of who we think are going to be the final 4. So consensus, it seems like KC for sure. We have a little bit of split on the Cincy-Buffalo game. Everybody's picking the Eagles. We have a little bit of split on the Dallas 49ers side of things. So let's just go straight up to it. Who's going to be in the Super Bowl and who's your winner? You can give both as we go around. And let's start with Andy, the Pacer.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what. I really feel since the playoffs started, Cowboys will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. I'm not saying this to be a hater. I really do believe that. I really do. On the AFC side, not the Bills, and I don't think the Chiefs are gonna lose against the Bengals. So I got Chiefs, Cowboys, and I got Dallas bringing home a championship in that game. Jerry Jones could retire. He could move to an island in the Bahamas. I don't know. He'll get one more. That's what I
Jerry Jones will die in that booth. He'll die right there.
Tony, make your picks.
I think momentum is hitting at the perfect time for the Cincinnati Bengals. I can see them beating the Bills. I can see them beating the Chiefs. Give me Bengals, Eagles, and the Super Bowl. And it's a hell of a matchup because what Joe Burrow does to opposing teams' defenses is something that Philly doesn't. They don't disguise their defense as well. It would be a hell of a matchup. But I think that in the end, that offensive line, those injuries, that roster talent that the Bengals have in comparison to Philly, I picked the Chargers and the Eagles at the start of the year because I love those 2 rosters, and I'm sticking with it. I think the Eagles take the Super Bowl this year over the Joe Burrow-led Bengals.
I'm sticking with what I picked. I'm sticking with what I picked last week. I'm going Kelsey Bowl. Chiefs, Eagles.
Be great.
You know what? I think last week I picked the Chiefs. This week I'll pick the Eagles. I'm just looking for a day off of work. Maybe we'll have a parade. That would be nice. So
that podcast would be awesome. That'd be a good podcast episode.
Yeah, they have a great podcast. Let's see if we can get Manny to jump in here. He's an Eagles fan. I think he's going to pick the Eagles. What's the Super Bowl, Manny?
It's definitely not the Dallas Cowboys because you got a guy here wearing Kelly Green and he's actually picking Dallas to win. That sounds asinine. I really don't know what this man ate for breakfast, but it's obviously he's a casual Dolphins fan. So I'm gonna go with the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
I think
Eagles.
And the Eagles will win 34-28.
That's right.
Nice.
34.
All right.
Score and everything.
And Andy will have no money left, and his Better Edge card will be revoked. And there you go. That's
Manny, the clock's already gone. He already lost the clock.
Wait till that's an accumulating asset, boy.
What is that, bro?
Look, the good thing about Better Edge. The good thing about Better Edge, if you are like Andy, you make bad picks and bad choices, you can always put more money in. They will always let you continue to bet. They're not going to cut you off. Some sports books will do that if you win too much. Not Better Edge. They're always willing to take your money and put it in there into the marketplace. So we got great football games. I think all 4 of these football games are going to be great. Next week, we'll be back for the AFC and NFC championship, and then we got one more show for the Super Bowl. So thank you guys for tuning in, even though it's a Saturday morning or a Saturday afternoon, and we'll be back next week. And make sure you check out Better Edge /setting the edge, or just go to betteredge.com. You can join our competition, join the marketplaces, check out player props, all those great things. Better Edge is the place to get down bets. It's the official betting sponsor of 5 Reasons Sports. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I guess we should probably say go Birds.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.